They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
All right, guys, quick question here. So I was checking out our YouTube analytics, and I was seeing that our impressions are way down. For whatever reason, YouTube is deciding to show our videos way less likely. And here, I mean, our impressions click-through rate, CTR, is still very high. Our average watch time is very high. So y'all have continued to completely support the channel, everybody watching this video. And I want to give y'all a big time thank you for that. But please also let me know and just be brutally honest with me. Has there been something I've been doing as of late that hasn't necessarily been up to par with what we were doing earlier on this season? Because if there's something that I'm doing that y'all may not necessarily like as much, please let me know so I can change it. Let me know so I can fix it. But as always, go down there, drop a like because it helps us out so much. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell next to it. That way you can come out as we do our premieres and I can answer your questions, go along with it. And in this video, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be going over some of these players that have lost a decent amount of value in fantasy basketball resulting from the trade deadline. And let's go team by team. There are really three main teams that I want to focus in on. And our first team is going to end up being the Miami Heat with Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro. So now, obviously, both of these players are guys that have been major disappointments in fantasy basketball so far this year. I mean, if we are looking at the past 30 days right now for the Miami Heat, we are having Tyler Herro ranked as the 146th best player in terms of value over replacement. It's been absolutely horrendous, especially for those people playing in category formats, as Tyler Herro's only shooting 34% from the field. And it's not like he's not putting up that many shots either. He's shooting up to 13 field goal attempts per game. So that field goal percentage is going to be dragging you down and pretty much just making you punt that category. And then we look at all his other statistics across the board and we go, okay, I mean, if you're starting Tyler Herro, you're punting field goal percentage at the very minimum. Is he providing you a plus anywhere else? And yeah, I guess you could say free throw percentage, but I mean, he's not going to the line that often. And if we were looking at everything else from his threes, his points, his assists, his rebounds, his defensive statistics, really Tyler Herro hasn't been providing you with anything. And then you throw in the fact that he's been playing 29 minutes a game and Victor Oladipo coming in is going to chip away from his field goal attempts as well as the minutes played per game. I think that Tyler Herro has to be a major faller to the point where I'm with Tyler Herro just using him as a throw-in. I don't care what the deal is. If you have something lined up where the other owner is just thinking about it, send him a DM. Say, hey man, if I throw in Tyler Herro, can we get this wrapped up? Can we get this done? Because Tyler Herro, yeah, he's an exciting young player where he still has some name brand. He still has some trade value just based on his name alone. So if you could swing something like that, that would be something I'm interested in. All right, so now let's go over to our next player, which is going to be Duncan Robinson. And pretty much you could just copy and paste what we said about Tyler Herro over here with Duncan Robinson, where at least I guess you can say he's giving you a decent amount of threes made per game, where he's making over 3 3-point shots made a game over the past 30 days. But that's all he's doing. It's so funny. He's averaging about 10 points a game from 3, and his total points average over the past 30 days is 11.5. So pretty much Duncan Robinson is not giving you anything from the free throw line. He's not giving you anything in terms of shots near the basket. He's a pure off-ball jump pull-up shooter. I mean, that's all he is. And also, because of this role, we know the assists are never going to be there. The rebounds are never going to be there either because he's not really near the basket. So Duncan Robinson, already a player that was not necessarily beneficial to your fantasy basketball roster. It's hard to point out anything good that he is doing. And the fact that his 31 minutes a game probably going to go down with the addition of Victor Oladipo. I think we have to look at Duncan Robinson as someone that is kind of fighting for your fantasy basketball roster spot at this point. And if we pull up a rest of season projection system from #FantasyBasketball, looking at these two guys, I mean, they have Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro down there around 150 to 160 value over replacement range. And this is actually a little bit less than what you could find on the waiver wire. So yeah, I think that if you could throw these guys in any trade deal to get it done, that's something that we would be looking to do. All right. So now let's go over and let's start talking about the Orlando basketball team trades. Let's go to our man, Nikola Vucevic, a big-time loser from this, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to say, Mason, you don't know what you're talking about here. Nikola's still going to drive the offense in Chicago. And I'll say, yeah, hopefully. Hopefully that's what we're going to see. But I think most likely we are going to see a step back where over the past 30 days, Nikola has been fantastic. If we look at the past entire season, let's not even look at the past 30 days. Nikola has been the 12th player in terms of his value over replacement. And to throw along with this, that he's played 44 games. So you go, okay, he's the 12th player in terms of his value over replacement per game. Then he plays pretty much every single game. He's been easily a top 5 most impactful fantasy basketball asset so far this year. And this has been with him just having a ton of volume. He's up there with almost 3 3-point shots made a game, almost 4 assists a game, 12 rebounds, 25 points. Nikola Vucevic, someone to get excited about, someone that has been carrying your fantasy basketball roster, where if we were moving over to what his projections are rest of season, yes, they're down slightly, not necessarily as much as you would expect. They have his points down to 23 a game, his rebounds down to 10.5, his assists down to 3.5 as well. Now, I will say, because he's going to be playing in an offense with Zach LaVine, you should end up seeing the efficiency go up. You should see his field goal percentage go up, just because opposing teams aren't necessarily going to be able to focus in on him as much as they were. So maybe the takeaway from here is, if you're playing in a category league, Nikola, someone you probably want to hold on to, but if you're playing in a points league, I would look to sell. All right, so now let's go to another player that was traded away in Orlando, and he's going down slightly, but I also want to talk about the other people in his rotation. This is going to be Aaron Gordon, where Aaron Gordon, if you're looking at the projections rest of season for him, they are pretty ugly. They have him down there at 32 minutes a game with only 13.9 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 3 assists. We understand that in this offense, Nikola Jokic is going to be pretty much driving everything. Then you're going to have Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. to go along with it. And I will say, with the addition of Aaron Gordon playing that off-ball cutter type role, I think you're actually going to see Michael Porter Jr. take a small dip, where Porter Jr. has been fantastic over the past 30 days. He's actually up there close to 10 total rebounds a game. And this is the number one thing that I think we're going to end up seeing, as I think that we're going to have Aaron Gordon come in. Gordon's possibly going to play a little bit more of the 4. Michael Porter Jr. is going to slide over to the 3 slightly. So I think you're going to have Porter Jr. getting a little bit less off-ball looks, as well as seeing less rebounds per game. So Michael Porter Jr. also has to be a player that we're moving down our rankings slightly. And like we always have to say, when you're adding someone of significance to a rotation that is an offensive piece, similar to James Harden going to Brooklyn, yes, it should help the other players in the rotation with their efficiency. It should help them find open shots. So if you're playing in a category format where Michael Porter Jr. is already 59% from the field over the past 30 days, there you could possibly hold on to him going, you know what, this is a player that's going to be pretty much generating no turnovers. He's also going to have a very high field goal percentage, and hopefully you can get that free throw percentage up slightly. Category league, I'm fine with Michael Porter Jr., but in a points league, I think you look to sell high. All right, so now let's go over to our next team. And I know people are going to hate to hear this. I know people do not want me to talk about this. But here we are going to be talking about the Portland Trailblazers. And more specifically, we're going to be talking about CJ McCollum. We're going to be talking about Damian Lillard. And the reason for that is Norman Powell coming in. I think Norman Powell kind of adds to this team a strength they already had. They could score the ball. What they needed was some interior defense. What they needed was some rebounding help. Yet instead they go add Norman Powell, decide, hey, let's go all in here. Let's try to win this year. And this is going to bump down both Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. In that, with Dame first, I just want to reference the fact that he is, I don't want to say the favorite for MVP, but he is up there. He has been spectacular so far this season, where he has led a Trailblazers team that has had so many faults, so many injuries, to a respectable record where they are still in the mix to be title contenders, with both Nurkic and CJ McCollum going down this season. But I think because of this, you've seen CJ McCollum come out here and have a ridiculous usage rate. I mean, if we are just looking at the minutes played per game, Damian Lillard has played 36 minutes a game with 43 games played. So we're going, okay, the Trailblazers, adding Norman Powell, having CJ McCollum coming back, hopefully getting Nurkic back as well. I think what we are going to end up finding is we are going to find that they're going to drastically reduce the usage rate for Damian Lillard to make sure that he is going to be good to go for the NBA playoffs, because this team has title aspirations. So yes, Dame can still have the elite assist number. Yes, he can still be elite from beyond the arc. He can still be an elite player overall. I just don't think he's going to maintain his status as a top 5 player in fantasy basketball with the addition of Norman Powell, with the addition of CJ McCollum coming back to the rotation, because they're going to be looking to switch things up slightly. And to go along with this with CJ McCollum, I understand that my thesis here is mainly that he's going to be generating a little bit more offense, and you can make the argument that Norman Powell is going to be playing a little bit more off ball in that catch and shoot type role. But still, CJ McCollum, I think the field goal attempts should go down slightly. I think what we are going to see is we are going to see the efficiency go up, because he's going to have a shot to be a little bit more selective with the shots that he is taking. So CJ McCollum, points league, down. Category league, we can stay neutral. Damian Lillard, down regardless, just because we're looking at the volume most likely drastically decreasing. All right, so now let's get our last player up here. Let's pull up Jaylen Brown, someone that I was really screaming at y'all to be selling earlier this season, just because we looked at his mid-range efficiency and went, you know what, this is a mark that is not sustainable. But anyway, Jaylen Brown gonna have to be falling with the addition of Evan Fournier, because Jaylen Brown and Evan kind of playing similar positions, kind of playing similar roles. I know you can say Evan's gonna play a little bit more off ball, Jaylen's gonna generate a little bit more offense. But regardless, Jaylen has already seen a significant step back from where he was earlier this season. And I think you're going to end up finding the minutes played per game slightly go down, just because this team needed wing depth. Outside of Jaylen Brown, outside of Jason Tatum, I mean, they really did not have the depth at the wing position to be able to give these guys a break. So Jaylen Brown, specifically for those points leagues, this is going to be a big theme in this video, that in points leagues, these players are going to be big-time losers whenever you have one of these guys coming in for their rotations. Category leagues, even then, I want to say Jaylen Brown's going to come down, just because the volume is going to drop down to a point where I think that Jaylen Brown is going to be just more valuable with his name rather than what he's actually giving you in terms of his production. So Jaylen Brown, someone that I am possibly looking to sell regardless, yet I think that you're going to have to try to pick and choose the deal that works for you. I think what's probably going to be easiest is to take a player like a Jaylen Brown and package him together, just say, with another guy that has a big name, another guy that is a significant playmaker. Just go a LeBron James, who is currently injured, and see the best return that you could get. Maybe you could go get a Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know that's crazy to say, but we've had some people in our live chat lately saying they think LeBron's going to come back a lot earlier than indicated. So if you can find a crazy owner like that would think so, that's something that we would be looking to do. Another trade target that I always love going after is Bam Adebayo, especially in those category formats. So yeah, well, that's it, guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton. And I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.